So, students, in this chapter 4, today I will make video of Vedic education. Okay, I already made you read this chapter from our history book, our past and our history class 6 book. So from this book I made video, you all know, and this many of you requested me to make video of chapter 4. So chapter 4 I already completed, that is 4 types of Vedas, where the Vedas, later Vedic age and early Vedic age, where they used to live. Okay, and about the things used in the time of Vedic age. Okay, these things I already make you read in the previous videos, but now, and I also made you read about Vedic politics and Vedic literature, that is when in Rig Vedic period how the people used to live. Okay, about those things uh, I made you read. Okay, then economy and society means in the time of Vedic civilization, Rig Vedic civilization, people mainly depend on animal husbandry than on agriculture. Okay, so in the early Vedic society, pastoral animals were the greatest asset, as they depend on animal husbandry only. They depend on domesticated animals. Okay, so for that reason only, in the Rig Vedic time, people give reference to animal husbandry, but not too much on agriculture, and they mostly domesticated agriculture. Okay, they used to domesticated agriculture in the early Vedic period. So their domestication is about horse, then many types of animals were there, then sheep used to give wool. So they used to domesticate many animals, as they prefer animal husbandry in the Rig Vedic time than agriculture. This is the economy and society of them. Now in the next page, in the later Vedic period, what they mainly depend on, they depend on the crops like barley, wheat, paddy, this type of crops. Okay, and they used to plow them with copper or wood or with iron plow. Okay, so they are, at that time, the later Vedic period, the economy was mainly depend on barley, wheat and paddy. Okay, and they used to live in the forest of the banks of river Ganga, where they preferred to start their cultivation with these crops of barley, wheat and paddy. Now here in this forest, most people probably burn down the cut down trees with their tools for hunting, for cooking. They used to cut down the trees. Okay, so in the later Vedic period, plow was not made with iron. Okay, it was made with iron weapons. Now craftsmanship at that time used to make things with iron, which was discovered that earthenware pots, means iron pots, at that time were very popular in the later Vedic period. And in that period, the main occupations of the people was mainly mason, fisherman and doctor. So you can see here that main occupation of the people was mason, fisherman and doctor, and they used to make more advanced things with the use of iron. Okay, they used to weave cloth also, they used to make ornaments also. Okay, now At that time we find some increase in their society of division of labor. Now we also find division of labor. At that time we also there was division of labor. Okay, now there were separate scraftsmen were there who used to make those iron things, we used to make those scraps. Okay, so there was not much trade and commerce in the early Vedic age. There was mainly trade in the Rig Vedic age. সো আমরা ট্রেড দেখতে পাই ঋগ ভেদিক এজে, বাট নট অন আর্লি ভেদিক এজ. So this is the some portion of economy and society, how their economy and society was there. Now you no need to read this page. Now you also know about those at that time Brahmins rituals were also there, that is Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. Four types of Brahmins were steps divisions were there, that is Vaishyas, Kshatriyas and Shudras. So Vaishyas used to, Brahmins used to do worship, ritual sacrifices, these things you know. Kshatriyas used to conduct making or looting treasures. Then Vaishyas used to make trade and commerce, and Shudras used to mainly do the lower portion work. Okay, like as a maid in others house. So these four divisions at that time we find, that is Brahmin, Vaishya, Shudras and Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishyas and Shudras. So these things is there in this paragraph. These things we'll read and nothing so much important. Now in the next page you can see about the Vedic education. So students, Vedic education at that time is very much important, because gurus used to give them education mainly on the depend on their merits. Okay, we give them scholarship education mainly depend on their merits, but not on make them educated, make them admitted without knowing their merits. ওকে, সো মেরিট অনুযায়ী তখনকার দিনে স্টুডেন্টসদেরকে ভর্তি নেওয়া হতো। কোনো রকম মেরিট ছাড়া ভর্তি আগেকার দিনের স্টুডেন্টসদেরকে নেওয়া, মেনলি দে আর নট টেকেন অ্যাডমিটেড উইদাউট সিইং or without examining their merits of students. Okay, so special emphasis was given on the exact pronunciation of the student. It is written here that guru or teacher was the main pillar of the education system. Education was imparted them orally. The teacher used to recite one section and explain its meaning. So students have to listen attentively and they have to recite and memorize. So special emphasis is given on pronunciation. Now in the later Vedic age, education and sacred ceremony was closely related. Okay, sacred ceremony means at that time when students used to admitted, then at that time a ceremony was used to made for that student. So we find here it is written that education and ceremony and at that time was related. Students applied to the teacher for education. The teacher would agree to accept the student, okay, only if he found the student suitable, and then a sacred ceremony was initiated for that studentship. Then a studentship was done. Okay, so there was many evidences at that time that through Upanan ceremony was also there. Girls used to observe and girls used to educate it. Now students received education from the guru by living or residing in his house. Okay, they had to perform a lot of duties along with the studies there. Now teacher looked after the food and as well as education, food as well as accommodation of the students. So, Vedic education was imparted through the reading of the Vedas. Now, emphasis was given mainly to the subjects of mathematics, grammar, and learning of languages. So, many things were needed to be learned hands on. Now, students were taught to protect themselves, how to protect themselves from the other enemies, okay, and learned the art of using weapons. Even Brahmins used to be educated through the art of weaponry. Thus, from Mahabharata to we know that Dronacharya was a person who used to learn that art of weapon. So here also in Vedic education we find that more emphasis was given on the art of weapons, okay. Learned how to use weapons. Now students also learned there the art of medicine also. Along with that other things, girls also practice their music as well as dance. Now generally education is to be imparted, they are given there for a time period of 12 years. It is written again, many students who used to remain there for entire life, usually after completion of that studies at the end of 12 year, they are used to having a convocation ceremony for those students. Now in that ceremony these students were recognized as graduates or Snatak. At the end of education period, it was customary for the students to take a special bath, which is may call sun. From that the term Snatak has derived. Before leaving the residence of the teacher, the students have to make a thank offering to the teacher according to their abilities. The offering to the teacher often involved Guru Dokkhina, that is gifting of cows. So here it is written that generally education was a given for a time period of 12 years. Now again the remaining students hence will live there for the entire life if that students after completion of their studies মানে তাদের পড়াশোনা হয়ে যাওয়ার পর একটা কনভোকেশন সেরিমনি দেওয়া হয়, and in that ceremony those students were called as graduates or snatak. Now after making graduates, those students before came out from that institution, he used to make a special bath which is called san. From that san word snatak word is derived. Now before leaving the residence, that student is also have to give some offer or thank according to their ability to the guru or teacher, that is a type of guru dokkhina or gifting cows. So this is the education when done at that time in Vedic period. Now you all know, I think, about the story of Ekalavya, Dronacharya, how they used to learn the use of weapons. There was a story, okay. So you all should learn this story about Dronacharya, Ekalavya, and you can write me comments, okay. তোমরা আমাকে comments লিখতে পারো যে তোমরা কি চাও। Students, you can write comments that which portion it will be better if I make videos, okay. So I think you all understand this portion about Vedic education. Now where you face problem, you always made me comments. Okay, you always write through message, through chat, you write me that which portion you want to be study, to be read, then I make more videos. So if you like my study, if you like my way of giving you lesson, then you please subscribe me, students. Okay.